Hello everyone and welcome back to Code Stars. I'm here with David and we are going to be jumping into a Resident Evil 8 lore video today. So as you can tell by the title, this is going to be a video on the origins of the Umbrella Corporation. Now this is very interesting because when me and David were playing the Resident Evil 8 demo, so the maiden demo, if you watch our gameplay you can even see when we come across the first note, it specifically mentions, there's a note from June 9th, I believe, June 9th, 1958. And that immediately caught our eyes. Like I was like, whoa, 1958, this goes way back in the lore. And the reason we found this interesting is because the lore typically dates back to 1960. And that is like the earliest it's where the Resident Evil universe lore really starts. So just a little bit of backstory about Umbrella. Umbrella Pharmaceuticals was founded in 1968 and then they eventually went on to found the Umbrella Corporation, which was in the 80s. So the first real bit of lore we get is in the late 60s. This is 10 years after that note in Resident Evil 8, and I find that very interesting because we haven't ever explored something that far back before. This is essentially the origins of Umbrella, and you may be wondering, why is it the origins of Umbrella? We don't know who's behind this virus, and that's right, we don't. But from this screenshot that has been around everywhere, I'm sure you guys have seen it by now, it's one of the biggest things about the first trailer, I believe. It shows the Umbrella logo engraved in some sort of surface. I don't know exactly what it is. It's going to be some sort of puzzle in the game, I'm assuming. But the Umbrella logo is carved there. Now this is the interesting question, is how is the Umbrella logo carved there when Umbrella wasn't even a thing in 1958? And it's not really something since the trailer dropped, the latest trailer, the third trailer during the 25th anniversary, it's something I've not heard anyone speak about. Like this is huge for the Resident Evil storyline to be going back this far and potentially exploring stuff about Umbrella we have never known about.
Yeah, there were discussions on the Umbrella logo being shown in one of the trailers, but no one knew about this going as far back as 1958. So the fact that, we're going all that way back, it really is the origins of Umbrella. The origins of Resident Evil goes, that far back. Makes you wonder, how did that come to be? What was the relationship there? We know the founders of Umbrella. We've heard all about it in all the games, files and stuff, but this is pretty mysterious. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about.
Like, this is huge for the Resident Evil story, and of course you have characters like Chris, the OG of the series, essentially, all incorporated into this. It's hard to theorize because there could be so many possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many possibilities with this. When you're talking about the Umbrella logo, what's their involvement with this castle, this village? Their logo could have been put there after.
Yeah, it could be put there 10 years after when they became affiliated with them or something. Maybe that explains why their logo is etched on the stone.
Like, the most interesting thing about this as well is it dates back to 1958. There was some other experimentation shit going on. It really does make you wonder, doesn't it? Like all those vampires.
I mean, we don't even have a time where this where this started, because the person who was writing those memos said that, mentioned about they tried to open the windows and they shouted at her in unison to shut the windows and stuff like that. Like, they were already vampires at that time. There's not exactly an origin point for when these vampires came about. It could have been in the fucking 40s, it could have been in the 30s, it could have been in the 20s. We have no idea. So because there's a lot of theorizing and just no one knows for sure, so obviously the mystery of the game, of course, so it makes it interesting. Dave, what do you think Umbrella's role in this game is? Do you think that this was prior to anything we've seen before, prior to the 60s, or do you think that Umbrella got involved 10 years later, somewhere down the line, basically? Because that is their logo. The Umbrella logo is there. If Umbrella wasn't founded before the 60s, how would they have the logo? You know what I mean? So surely it must be they got involved, right?
Yeah, I would think
that's what I'm thinking.
They had to have got involved.
Yeah.
Because when you think about all of that, going back to the 50s, Umbrella wasn't even around. It does make sense that they did get involved. And I mean, if someone's doing experiments way back then,
who is it? This opens up essentially an Umbrella 2.0,
exactly.
Another group that was experimenting on vampires.
There must be a top guy or person that was doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what would be interesting, going into Resident Evil 8, is if we find memos along the way mentioning the Umbrella founders, Oswald Spencer, James Marcus, and Edward Ashford. Especially Oswald Spencer, because he grew up in a castle too, and his family was among the European elite, so he must be known here, right?
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. The Spencer name was among the European elite, which makes perfect sense, actually, with with the map we got with the Resident Evil 8 Collector's Edition recently, they actually give you a map of the game. You can't see it clearly, so I will try and show like the clearest possible image, but it is going to be hard. But you can see all these names. These are different, obviously different houses, different surnames. What if each of these are also among the European elite? Because you have
possible.
You have also, which is another thing, which is what I was going to go into after this, but I didn't realize how it connects until David just said it. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned about you have all these like sigils, all these crests, I guess, surrounding the Umbrella logo. What if all of these houses contributed to Umbrella in some way, shape, or form? Because they're all part of the European elite, supposedly. That would make sense, right? Considering this game is obviously set in Europe, it's set in Romania. I think that'll make a lot of sense. Now that David's brought up the European elite thing, I think that could be very possible. I'm thinking maybe there's some sort of lab underneath this whole place or something. That would be very cool. Maybe the first ever
Classic Resident Evil.
Maybe the first ever lab that was made. The possibilities are there. This video is just us spitballing ideas because we literally just started discussing this like a few hours ago, and we thought, you know, this would make for a good discussion video because it's just us two speaking. I want to get more people involved. You know, you guys in the comments can put what you think. Maybe there's something that we've just completely skipped over and something we've just completely missed that could prove us wrong. But I'm just thinking at the minute, like, it is a very cool concept to go back and learn about stuff this far back in time. It is very interesting. So what we want is for you guys to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Leave your thoughts mainly on what you think Umbrella's role is in this game, because I feel like it's the most interesting talking point of this whole game at the moment. And with the new Maiden demo that was just released, it confirms, like, prior to this we didn't know the game had ties back to that long ago, 1958. We had no idea. This note was the first time we got a date, and it took me by surprise, and I don't see anyone speaking about it. So let us know what you think Umbrella's connection is to this game. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, cheers for watching.